the first question, which is, what was the first concert you've ever been to? How did you get into the insurance world?
Oh my God. I am.
But we're really, really fascinated and interested in marketing.
That's how this industry works. Like, you have no idea whose hand you're shaking at any given time. You know them, but you're not sure exactly.
What would one piece of advice be that you'd give to somebody that's jumping into this world?
Maybe there's an insurance fanboy out there. If you're out there, I would like to meet you.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes podcast.
Boom!
Whoa!
I like that.
I was scared. That was my
Not an insurance dudette. It's the best. Olivia Schmitt, how are you doing?
I am doing well. I mean, obviously I'm home. I have 3 kids. I apologize in advance if like one of them comes in and is like, "Hey, Mom," and they'll ask like the most random question. That's my week with them. So yeah.
Remember that, like, there was the big thing on the news where the guy was talking on Zoom and then the kid came in and the lady came in, like, is grabbing him out. Like, now that's just normal.
Exactly.
It's every day.
Normal life for everybody.
Yep.
Every time that happens here. So the kid will come through the virtual background and so
like reaching from beyond, from the other side, like
Yeah.
great.
Sixth Sense style. I like it.
For sure. Yes.
Well, before we get going, we always ask the first question, which is, what was the first concert you've ever been to?
Okay, so I'm
back.
I'm glad that I like tuned in enough to like know that this question was coming, because otherwise I would have to take like 5 minutes and think about it. So I am pretty sure, I was trying to think back if like, I don't know, I think I lived a little bit of a sheltered teenage life, totally sheltered teenage life. So I believe it was Weezer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
cool.
that is a great one.
Yeah.
That has not come
Nice.
up. That has
What
not,
tour?
Oh my gosh.
What
so
album?
I mean, so this would have been 18 years ago. I'm glad I can't say it was 20 years ago, but it was probably 18 years ago. So which
Green
album? I don't even know what album they were promoting at the time.
Are
I
they
mean,
all
that would have been about
colors?
Pinkerton.
They're all
wasn't it?
colors.
They're all colors.
Ooh, Pinkerton was, Pinkerton was 90s, I think.
I mean,
Weezer was
I
around in
feel
the
like
90s. I know that you were probably born in 99 or something, but
me?
no,
Not quite. I mean, you're pretty close. But, yeah, so no, I wish I would have, like, I wish I was an original, and when I was, super young, I went on the Blue Album tour, but that wasn't the case. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want to say Pinkerton, but I don't believe they performed a lot of Pinkerton songs. So I don't know, but I've seen them 3 times. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's a good one. We have never had a Weezer.
never.
Yeah, one
Wow.
concert was Weezer and Foo Fighters.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
Pinkerton
Foo
came
Fighters
out.
from here, from Arizona. No. It's Meat Puppets.
No.
I always get confused. One of them is from here. Meat Puppets.
Meat Puppets. That sounds about right.
I was gonna say both Weezer and Foo Fighters they're California people, aren't they?
Yeah. they're California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll give Meat
Agree.
Puppets to Arizona.
I love
Thank
Weezer,
you.
but I love
I'll
them.
take them.
They are good.
Yeah. Really good.
I hope
So, what's that?
Yelled at
I
us.
said
She
I hope
almost
to be
spilled her
that cool
drink.
someday.
You already are.
You already are.
Yeah.
So, Olivia, how did you get into the insurance world? Take us through that journey.
Yeah, so I ended up completely by accident. It was like a friend of a friend asked if I wanted to apply for a job. I had met this person one time, and they were like, "Oh, hey, we have a job opening. You want to drop off your resume?" And I was like, "I guess I could do that." At the time, I was a massage therapist. Okay, so like absolutely not in any sort of like office-related industry whatsoever.
Lucky you got out of that because
Yeah, I wouldn't be working right now. Maybe
No.
I'd be on vacation somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, so I dropped off my resume. Turned out I knew a couple of people that worked there, which maybe helped me. I don't know. But yeah, 2 weeks later, I was learning insurance. So it's pretty crazy. That was almost 16 years ago. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's been a little bit of a journey.
Was that at an agency?
What's that?
Was it an agency or what?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Worked in an agency, started out in commercial lines.
Mm-hmm.
There was another agent that came on about the time. So I was working pretty much directly with one agent, at least for the first couple of years of my career. Actually, we worked together really closely for 9 years. So it was kind of nice. We kind of came up in the industry together. I was working with him from a servicing standpoint and supporting his sales strategy. And so, yeah, it was good. We're still friends to this day. So yeah, all good things. And I love insurance. I wish I could love it less, but I don't think I can.
You love it.
Love it.
I love it.
Which,
love it.
So I'm sure that's not something
why I
that
wore
you
this
thought.
Every time you think insurance, you put on that sweater.
Mm-hmm. Wear it every day.
Well, what made you fall in love with it? I'm sure when you were young, you were like, oh, insurance is going to be awesome when I grow up.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about insurance. I mean, I don't even know, I couldn't even tell you who paid my premiums. I assume my parents. I had no idea. But about that time I was living on my own. So I was learning just about the premium side as a customer, and didn't necessarily love that part. But I think that as I got into it, it was just, there's so much to learn. So you're never going to know it all. And there's so many great people. I think that for me, it was just finding a lot of great connections and just building relationships with people. I don't know. I mean, I have clients that have become really good friends, so from back when I was with the agency. And so I feel like it's such a great way to connect with people, whether they're your clients or coworkers or people from all over the country. I joke that I could kind of go anywhere, like any city in any state, and probably have a connection in the insurance industry there. And I could couch surf if that was my speed. It's just such it really is like a welcoming, relationship based industry. And that, I don't know, I feel like that kind of hooked me and then reeled me in. And then I did try and get out at one point. I left. I went and did project management at IBM for a year, and realized that was not where I was meant to be. I really had insurance in my blood. I was having lunch with a client while I was still at IBM, and we were talking about his bond rates. And he was like, I just am really not sure why you're not in insurance. If we're going to go have lunch and you're going to talk to me about bond rates, clearly this is something that you love, and we should just, you should probably go back. And I went back, I don't know, probably a month later, I was back at the agency.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back to the same place?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. So I feel like it's hard. Once it gets in your blood, it's you can't get it out. I don't know.
Yep. Kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm just joking.
I would be interested to see, of all of the industries, how many people stay in the insurance industry in some fashion for their entire career. Maybe not at the same place, maybe not the same agency or doing the exact same thing, but what is the longevity in just different roles within the industry?
Because if you stick it out for a while, it's there's so much, right?
Yeah.
From the systems, the knowledge, the test, just everything. There's just so much that it's you think, I got to do that somewhere else, learn all this stuff again. And I don't know. It's not attractive. It's not.
No. But I mean, we have really amazing people. And yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the biggest thing for me, is just relationships. And, I don't know. I mean, if there's an industry where you can kind of make whatever career you want, insurance is it.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to slice the pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and it is awesome. I mean, it is like we always joke around about it because nobody really wants to talk about it. None of your friends or anything like that. But like
until they
when
have
you
a
get in,
problem, then they want to know everything that you know.
Oh yeah.
right,
Especially
at
the ones
any
that have never-
hour of the.
Yes. Yes. I invited
But-
you here for dinner, and I would like to talk about my roof.
Yeah. But it's crazy though, because it's so helpful. Like it really does. I mean, we are helping people. So it's very rewarding very rewarding industry, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You're helping them when they often don't even want to be helped. They don't realize how much they need that help.
Right.
Because they're just trained. We were talking about this with a previous guest. I mean, they're trained to think, I just need to find the cheapest rate. That's all this thing is. It's something I have to have, and it needs to be cheap. And I'm guessing you came from the independent world.
Yep.
And so there is a little bit of that on that side because there's more offerings. So it's easier. You can go, oh, well, this one's a little less. Let's talk about this one. But there's still, the quality is still so important, right?
Right. Exactly. Like your role as an advisor, because I mean, they are trusting you with the most important stuff in their life, whether they realize it or not. And so to make sure that you're doing the right thing, like operating in the best interest of the client, making sure you know what you're talking about, like there is a lot of responsibility in the role, but also when you're able to help them through really difficult situations, then you realize in those moments that all of that work, even if you had to hassle with them over purchasing certain coverage or whatever, like it's all paid off now in this moment. So yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot more wins than not in the industry.
Yeah. And, coaching the team, getting your team to understand this, because often they're going to sell in the way that they've been sold, which is, the industry standard of find the cheapest thing.
Right.
And they have a huge responsibility to help somebody understand that on their worst day that they ever have, they don't think about the fact that they saved $10, right? They think about, holy crap, I better have $1 million to protect me right now.
Right.
Because I just hit this person. Right. And so it's that, I don't know, it's every day. That is what's pretty cool about this industry.
Yeah.
And I did notice on your LinkedIn that you actually say insurance fangirl.
Yeah. So I adopted that name almost 2 years ago. Yeah, I was trying to come up with something to express my adoration of the industry. Oh my God. I'm like straight up geek here. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of insurance and I'm a fan of people. So awesome. Yeah, I felt like it was appropriate.
So when you're at the virtual happy hour and you're talking to people on Zoom, then in these difficult times, then you would say, I'm an insurance fangirl. And they all get, oh, tell me more.
Yeah, everybody wants to know that, girl.
Well, okay. So you're at the agency for when did you wrap it up there? And then was it next to your current endeavor at Total CSR?
Yes. Okay. So everything just happened really quickly, right? So I was done at the agency at the end of January and started with Total CSR right away. So have not been with Total CSR for a ton of time. Yeah, just a couple months ago. So it's all pretty new. I think the good thing is that insurance knowledge is still pretty fresh in my mind. I'm trying to make sure that I don't lose that, because I mean, you spend 15 years building that knowledge. Like, I don't want to lose it, but also trying to make space in my brain for a whole new role. So yeah, just trying to mash it all in here.
Okay. Yeah. So you're director of marketing.
Yes.
Talk to us about that. And then, well, I guess talk to us about what Total CSR is, and then how I guess I'm guessing it serves the insurance space.
Yes, it does.
But we're really, really fascinated and interested in marketing and how different strategies from different areas can really help agency owners in their space. So you have that little bridge over by doing both.
Yes. So hopefully all of that plays out exactly how it should, right? In terms of taking my experience of being in the industry on the agency side for 15 years and then going to the vendor side. So it is it's a mindset shift for me in terms of like, it is a different channel, right? So Total CSR is a training and onboarding product for people that are new to the industry, or if you want to cross train them. So if you have somebody going from personal lines to commercial lines, vice versa. So they've created like the training curriculum programs in commercial lines, personal lines, group benefits, soft skills, and producer training. And so they're just continuing to build on that and expand on that. The goal behind that was really, hey, when we have somebody start out in the industry, it's taking a year to train them. And I remember those days when I started in the industry. You go through licensing school, they say, that's great, you got your license, now forget everything that you learned in licensing school, we're gonna teach you the real stuff. So this program is the real stuff, but consolidated. So you're not waiting 12 months to really be able to utilize that person in your agency. You're consolidating it down to a few weeks. And so, just making sure that you're giving them a really good, healthy baseline of information, and then they can just continue to build on that. Wow. It's pretty cool. And I mean, I've been a big fan of it. I was a big fan of it on the agency side. We never purchased it at the agency that I worked at, but obviously was able to create a connection there. And that's what I'm saying. Like, connections are crazy. Like, you don't know when a connection with somebody is going to mean something other than I'm shaking your hand at a trade show, at a conference. Like, you never sure when that's going to play out into something different in your life. But yeah, I was lucky enough to meet them when they first launched the company. Our paths crossed at different conferences, and we started talking in October. And yeah, so in January, late January, I started with the company. So yeah, it's just, that was total sidebar, but that's how this industry works. Like, you have no idea whose hand you're shaking at any given time. You know them, but you're not sure exactly what they're going to mean in your life down the road. Right. Yeah. So my goal is to really, obviously make sure that we're getting awareness about the product out there. We think it's super valuable. I think the industry needs more education and materials that are applicable to the job that's being done. Not a bunch of, like, we're going to throw a bunch of policy forms at you that you may never read. And not that that stuff's not important, but let's cover the basics first. Let's cover the foundation that makes you feel capable and confident when you're first sitting at that desk having to talk to a customer. And then we can start working on the other, higher level, intermediate and advanced information. Because sometimes I think either we try and pile too much on, or we don't give them enough. And so creating that bridge in the middle, I think is, it's important and it's needed. So so I'm just trying to get more awareness out there, and just continue to understand what is meaningful to agents, and make sure that we're always providing the content that is actually going to help somebody out, whether it's agency operations, or if it's just, managing people, hiring practices, whatever it is, training, obviously, big deal for us. But we just want to make sure that we're always giving just the right information, stuff that's going to be usable to people. I don't want to fill the internet with a bunch of fluff. I want it to be really good stuff that people can take back and apply to what they're doing.
Do you see a lot of independent agents or even captives using the platform?
Primarily independent agents, but certainly it's an option for anybody in the for anybody. I don't want to say just the P&C world, but anybody in the agency world. So. And
how long are the programs? Like take us through, like, what would be the benefits for our agency? Let's say I was onboarding a whole bunch of people, and I'm worried about training them. What would you tell me?
So huge benefit is that you don't have to do the training. Nobody in your office has to do the training except for the individual that needs to be trained. So they get to sit down at the desk and, you know, start working through those training programs, whatever their discipline is, whatever you're hiring them for. It's very focused on what they need to be doing. And so you're making sure that your original set of employees are able to continue executing on their primary duties. And your new employee is getting some very good, thorough, consistent training, so that they're able to hit the ground running in a much shorter time span. So commercial lines is the longest training module. I think commercial lines is just probably more involved. In my experience on the agency side and looking through the program, it's just more involved. So that's going to be your longest program. Personal lines next to that. Soft skills is a great addition. I love that one. I think it's one of those things that we just kind of forget about. We assume that if you were nice in your interview, you know how to talk on the phone and deal with certain things, you know?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the case. So that's obviously a great one. Group benefits and producer training a little bit shorter. So yeah, commercial lines is just, it's always going to take the longest. I just feel like there's so much more involved in that. So
that's awesome. That's cool that it has the soft skills as well. Like that is very, very important for agents. What were you going to say, Craig?
Well, so how can somebody, like it, I guess in the independent world, there's a lot of similarities between the agencies, but I know Jason asked, but in this space, so let's say I'm bringing people on for my actual agency.
mm-hmm.
How would we be able to use that so that our new hire was trained and it was relevant to them in our space?
So what do you mean in your space?
Well, I mean in the captive space. Is there?
Oh yeah, I mean it's insurance information, right? So
Okay.
it's accord forms. It's the basics of general liability. It's, you know, the basics of a home policy. So it's not necessarily getting into like super hyper specific stuff.
Right.
Where that I'm not sure what you guys use for continuing ed now. But I mean, you guys do you guys use the same stuff? I mean, I don't know if is it different in the captive world?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. So I don't know that side as much. Yeah. So
continuing ed is in like
it's just in
the courses to like we basically, so in the captive world, it's basically we don't have much to go on other than the little bit of training that the company provides, and then it's kind of, you know, kind of go at it. We do have, you know, basic, I guess like basic deck pages and stuff like that we'll go through with our employees to because like to your point, when you take those darn tests, it's just like, I almost feel like people are more confused than if you sat down with them for 30 minutes and explain liability. Like after this 52-hour course and everything, and then they go to the licensing center, take it, barely pass, and then afterwards it's like they don't even barely know what liability is because it's so convoluted by that point.
It's not anything that they can take back and apply to a conversation with a client. You know, it's like, so it's really like Total CSR is designed to give them the real practical stuff. Like these are the questions that are going to come up. This is the stuff you're going to encounter in your day-to-day. And this is how you're going to become valuable in your role. So yeah, I mean, it's just been one of those things I feel like has been lacking for such a long time, and we don't realize it, right? Because we're just like, oh, this is part of getting a license and maintaining a license, and then everything else we're just going to learn as we go and hope that we don't mess it up along the way. So this is, I feel like it's just a much better way to like build a healthy foundation of the right set of information, and then just, you know, then you're more prepared to take on more complex coverage and claims scenarios. But yeah, I think it's very much needed. just from my experience working in insurance, hiring people, trying to train people, trying to make sure that I train them the same way that somebody else on my team was going to train them. Like, you don't even know, like, you're mixing in people's perspectives as well. Or I had this one thing happen once and this is how it was covered.
Right.
To train an employee. You know what I mean? Like, it happened this one time, never happened again. It was like lightning struck and we got this claim covered or something like that. You know, so it's like giving them something consistent to go on. And you know that every single person in your organization is being trained the same way. It's definitely much more reliable than hoping that every person in your organization speaks about every scenario the same way.
Yes. Well, awesome.
Yep.
So how can people find the, is it totalcsr.com?
Yeah, totalcsr.com.
What?
We try and keep it simple. There's a little button
Simple.
where it says book a demo.
There we go. Okay. So they can go there, they book a demo, see
Yep.
how it works, and then get that thing signed up and not have to deal with baptism by fire at their agency.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to put it. I forget. I used to use that all the time. I mean, it's funny because that's exactly what I said for the longest time. When I started in the industry, I was handed a book of business on day one. They're like, go get your license, but kind of look at this stuff.
Here's the book. Bye.
Yeah, here's your computer. We don't know how it turns on.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn it on, but you can figure it out. But it's a ton of overwhelm. So before we run, what would one piece of advice be that you'd give to somebody that's jumping into this world and for some reason and is a fangirl of insurance?
Or fanboy.
Or fanboy.
Maybe there's an insurance fanboy out there. If you're out there, I would like to meet you. Oh my God,
that's awesome.
Oh my gosh. I would say find a mentor. It's the most powerful thing, I think, in terms of being able to really feel comfortable and feel like you have somebody that you can go to with questions and, you know, whether it's, I have no idea what I'm doing, or if it's, I have a really specific coverage question. So just that person. I was so lucky to have great mentors and continue to have really good mentors. I think it's a differentiator for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Jason, anything?
Love it. No, I love it. I think that the mentorship is a great piece of advice, because actually our last guest gave the same advice. And honestly, like even somebody coming in with a lot of knowledge still needs a mentor to get to that next level or wherever anytime we do anything new. But I think insurance is one of those spaces where there's a lot going on and we definitely need some help.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, it's like, typically your mentors are they will have forgotten more than you're ever going to know when it comes to insurance.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, something very specific in your role. So it's like, yeah, I've been so incredibly lucky, and I know I would not be in the career that I'm in right now had it not been for those people in my path. So yeah, super lucky.
That's
awesome.
Well, Olivia Schmitt, thank you for being a dudette on the Insurance Dudes. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you down the road, okay?
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Thanks, Olivia.
Thank you.
Hey, you've got to check out the Insurance Dudes Inner Circle, coming soon, where you get extended interviews as well as live coffee talks in our private Facebook group. Join the mailing list today at theinsurancedudespodcast.com. Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.